Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to the second video in my series about how to use LinkedIn as a college student. I previously talked about why it's important to use LinkedIn as a college student. If you haven't seen that, check it out right here. And today I want to tell you how to create a strong profile. So not only am I going to show you my actual LinkedIn profile, but I'm going to take you through the process of how I created my profile and show you the main components of a profile. So stay tuned if you're interested in that. I'm going to be cutting in between a screen recording of me actually scrolling through my LinkedIn profile on the website and me as a talking head, so get ready for that. And just before we jump in, I want to say one thing, and that is whether you are a current high school or college student, whether you are a recent graduate, or whether you are kind of new to the job market as a job seeker, I just want to say the most important thing about all of this is that it's absolutely essential for you to have a complete profile. So that means every single detail is filled out. The great thing about this is that if you are creating your account for the first time, while you're doing that, LinkedIn is actually going to take you through each step of the process and show you via percentage how complete your profile is and how ready you are to appear to other people who are using LinkedIn. So I've obviously created my profile. I've been using LinkedIn for about 2 or 3 years now, but I'm just going to show you what mine looks like so you can get an idea of that. The first thing that I want to call to your attention is the profile picture. So this is going to be a profile picture unlike any other social network profile picture you have because contrary to popular belief, LinkedIn is not Facebook or Facebook for old people as I always hear it described. It's not Twitter, it's not Instagram, okay? You need to look professional because that's the whole point. I will show you a few examples of some acceptable profile pictures right here. So the first is the current LinkedIn profile picture that I'm using. The second is another one that I would consider using. The third is not technically inappropriate, but I think it's kind of juvenile, so that's why I wouldn't recommend using it. And then the last one's a selfie, so yeah, that's a no. You don't want anything that is obviously inappropriate. You want to be dressed professionally. I would recommend to use a headshot. Do not use a selfie. It just doesn't look very professional. And you don't need to go out and buy headshots. You don't need to worry about, oh my god, where am I going to get a headshot? Literally just have your friend take a picture of you standing in front of a solid color wall. That is what I've done for multiple headshots. So don't use selfies. Make sure you're dressed professionally. You don't have to be like in a suit and tie, but just like business casual. You can see what I'm wearing. I'm just wearing like a little blazer and it's not, you can't see in that picture, but just like this little button-up shirt, like nothing crazy. This is really important because this is the first impression that you're gonna leave on people. So this is the first thing that they're gonna see and this is the image that's going to stick in their mind every time they think of you. Next. So you see how it says my name and then it says data annotator / project coordinator intern. This is called your headline. So when people are going through like a list of suggested friends or you come up as someone liked your post on someone else's feed, whatever, they are going to see your name, your picture, and your headline. So the way that I like to think of it that will probably help you guys understand is, you know, in high school they're teaching you like very structured how to write an essay. Imagine that the headline is your thesis statement. This is going to be your central argument of sorts. This tells people what you're doing at the moment. So as you can see, it's currently summer. I'm doing an internship. Right now I am a data annotator and a project coordinator intern. During the regular school year, my profile looks like this. So it just says UCLA Applied Linguistics student. You can do some variety of that if you want to. If you are working a job, I don't work while I go to school. If I did, I may say something different, like I might say UCLA student and whatever position I was doing, but it's up to you. The point is you want it to be concise. I would suggest trying to keep it down to 1 line, 2 lines in absolute max because it's very short. So it's important that it is concise and accurately describes what you're doing at the moment. If you're a student, great, put that. I would suggest putting your major. Like I said, mine says UCLA Applied Linguistics student. You can put UCLA Applied Linguistics major. I could have put UCLA Applied Linguistics senior. It doesn't matter. It gets my point across. Senior may actually be useful next year when I am a senior because a lot of times recruiters and potential employers are looking for upcoming graduates to hire. But anyway, so it's very important, like I said, that this accurately describes what you're doing. And I see a lot of people who put like currently seeking jobs. Don't put that. That tells me nothing about you. Of course you're currently seeking a job. So are the 7 million other users on LinkedIn. Like, you can put your area if you want to, not absolutely necessary. A lot of people feel uncomfortable putting where they live. I get that. I do too, so that's why I just put San Francisco Bay Area, even though I'm going to school at UCLA. As I said, I don't work during the school year, so I am not looking to attract recruiters or potential employers in the LA area. I'm looking to attract recruiters or potential employers in the San Francisco Bay Area because that's where I live, that's where I was born and raised, and that's where I'm planning on returning after I graduate. Scrolling down, don't worry about this information on the right just yet, but okay, so under about, this is called your summary. This is really important. I'm gonna go back to this whole essay analogy. So if the headline is your thesis, the summary is your intro paragraph. This should tell people what they need to know about you. I would suggest highlighting, just highlighting. You don't have to go into too much detail. A few things about yourself that you feel are important to convey to potential employers. You can talk a little bit about your background. You can talk a little bit about your personal beliefs. You can read mine and see what I said. I am actually looking to update that now because I've done a few more things since I wrote that, but I think it's pretty good just generally. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Like I said in other videos, I constantly update my LinkedIn profile. But anyway, the summary, as I said, really important. This is where you're talking about yourself. Spend time on this because this is what people are going to read. Aside from your headline, which is responsible for catching people's attention, the summary is responsible for keeping people's attention. So they need to be able to read this and get an idea of who you are. I would recommend not only for the summary, but for all the subsequent components, the education, the background, and then as well as your work experience, writing it in a Word document and then putting it on your LinkedIn profile. Don't write it directly on the LinkedIn profile because not only is this a way for you to grammar check and make sure that everything is cool in the way of spelling and stuff like that, but it's a way for you to really develop it without it being public yet. Because while it's public, people are looking at it. And there are different privacy settings on your account, but someone's gonna see it. And if it's not perfect, if you don't want them to see it, just do it on a Word doc and then copy and paste it here later. Moving on, we're gonna scroll down to experience. So as you can see, I have a few examples of my experience. I am currently the data annotator / project coordinator intern at SoundHound. This is a fairly new role for me, so that's why the description that I have for it is so short. I literally have been in this role for a week, so I honestly don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I'm still doing a bunch of trainings. So as I get more comfortable with this role and as time progresses, I'm gonna fill this out more. But just as a baseline, I feel like this is a pretty good description of what I'm doing. I'm gonna move on to more of the experience that actually matters. So if you scroll down, you can see I was a receptionist at Cushman & Wakefield, and I was the senior consultant and department lead at Trudy's. So these are the two main work experiences for me that I talk about in interviews and that I get asked about in interviews. I actually get asked about the Trudy's experience way more than I get asked about the LinkedIn experience, which is the Cushman & Wakefield. I'm gonna go to Trudy's first because that is really the role that has kind of shaped me as a professional. This was my first job. As you can see, I worked there for 4 years, 3 months to be exact. And I talked a little bit about what I did. The thing that's important to note here is that this is not your resume. I would not talk in great detail about what you did. I would once again mention the highlights of what you did. Like, don't copy and paste your resume into LinkedIn. Even though, yes, you're talking about many of the same things, on LinkedIn, I think you can give it a little bit more flair. On your resume, you can get more down to business. You could bullet point if you want to. That's the way that I like to think of it. So as you can see, you can read through it and see exactly what I said, but the main thing is just to convey what I did, what I was responsible for, how it impacted me, and how I impacted my coworkers and the people that I worked with, so my clients. So getting down to education, the main thing that you want to worry about putting here, aside from your description, is the school, the degree that you're earning, and then the years. Those are like the big 3 things, and then obviously the description and the extracurricular activities are really important too, but those are more detailed things that I'll get into in a minute. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom because that is the first educational experience I have. It lists the most recent experiences first. So let's scroll down to the bottom. So I talk about high school a little bit. For me at this point, it's been so long since I've been in high school, so like it doesn't really matter, especially since it doesn't really directly relate to what I'm doing and like the type of positions that I'll be pursuing in the future as a career. But if you're younger, this is definitely something that's relevant to you. And if you haven't had much work experience, this can be relevant as well. Just talk in more detail about your extracurriculars and what they meant to you, how they developed you professionally and personally. Moving on to the West Valley experience. Okay, so this was community college for me. So I talked a little bit about academics. I've said this before, but in community college, I actually did not do any extracurriculars. And that was because I was working full time. I mean, the main takeaway here is because I didn't really do a whole lot at West Valley, and honestly, community college wasn't like the most academically rigorous experience that I had. I embellished a lot, and that's okay. Just play everything up. Don't lie. But if you did something, you deserve to be patted on the back for that. So it's okay to talk a little bit more dramatically than you would in real life. Moving on to UCLA. So you can read the description. You can see that I talk a little bit about my experience in the classroom, and then I do talk also a lot about extracurriculars. So that is important because a lot of times employers also want to know about your extracurriculars. So that's why I did spend so much time talking about my extracurriculars. So you can see under activities and societies, I've listed everything, the Honor Society, my tutoring, volunteer note-taking, and the transfer mentor position that I'm going to be doing next year. So it's all very important. And once again, make sure you put your degree if you know it. Make sure that you put the year that you anticipate graduating, because like I said earlier, a lot of times recruiters are looking for new upcoming graduates. So if you have the year that they're looking for, they might just contact you. Okay, moving on. Skills and endorsements. This is an area that I want to talk to you guys about because I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, even people who use it. What you can do here is list the skills that you have, computer skills, soft skills, hard skills, whatever you want to put under there. And then people that you are connected with on LinkedIn can actually endorse you for those skills and say, yes, this person does really well in this area. So for example, customer service, some of my coworkers had endorsed me for that skill. And if, you don't want to necessarily ask someone to endorse you. I mean, you could, maybe if it's someone you feel comfortable asking. But what I like to do is usually endorse other people, and then when they get that notification, they'll endorse me back, especially if it's someone that I'm like really close with. So you can see that here. You can put a ton of skills. You can put language skills. There is actually a section for other languages on LinkedIn. If you do speak multiple languages, you can put that. But as you can see, I have like my computer skills, I have my interpersonal skills, all that sort of a thing listed here. And that's important because that lets employers know that you know how to do this, and then the fact that you have people that you've worked with endorsing you is just even more proof that you know what you're talking about. One last thing, this is a tip for my job seekers out there. If you want to let recruiters and let potential employers know that you're looking for a job, whether you're comfortable with that status or whether you're private about it because you currently have a job, you don't want them to know that you're looking for another job, you can do this. So if you go to me, that little drop down there, settings and privacy, scroll down, job seeking preferences, and then signal your interest to recruiters at companies you have created jobs for, and let recruiters know you're open to opportunities. So if you select yes, recruiters will see that you are interested in a job opportunity without literally anyone else knowing. So you're safe if you already have a job. You don't want them to know you're looking for another one. It's a private way to let people know that you're looking for jobs. It also looks so much better than literally making your headline currently seeking job opportunities. Like, that's so lame. So I would recommend this if you're in the market. All right, guys, those are my tips for how to get started on LinkedIn. I hope this helped you create a stellar profile. If there's anything that you would like to see in more detail, or if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below and I will respond to you shortly. Make sure you check out the other videos in my series if you haven't already. There is a playlist created, which I will link here. Thank you so much, and good luck on LinkedIn. See ya.